On to live. Go.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Community Foundation's Conversation to Action Grants webinar. This is just a small conversation between you, the people who participated on the table on October 17th, and myself and my team, Boyd and Nancy, so that we can discuss tips for you going forward for the Conversation to Action Grants. I'm going to pick up here. Very good. So I guess first we'll start with the overview of the guidelines of the Conversation to Action grants. So the purpose of this year is to allow participants who participated on the table on October 17th to apply for many grants that will help strengthen their communities, deepen civic involvement, and cultivate new ideas developed during their conversations at their tables. The funding will range from $100 to $1,000, which will be anywhere from about 24 to 40 grants that will be awarded, contingent on the quality and viability of the applications. Funding priority will be given to projects that demonstrate a majority of the following. You want to feature a new idea generated through an on-the-table conversation. So any ideas that came from your discussion at the table that you participated in can be an idea that you can put forward for the grant. We also want to focus on action and collaboration to provide innovative and more efficient approaches to solving community issues. We also want to address needs not currently being met by an existing organization. You also want to reach a broad segment of the community. And this is open to individuals, groups, and organizations. For nonprofit applicants, standard foundation grant eligibility requirements do apply. Documentation will be required for anyone who applies as an individual. All right. So please note that ongoing operational expenses will not be funded. It is, well, I won't say will not be funded, but it's highly unlikely to not be funded. We will consider applications also from faith-based organizations, community outreach organizations, as well as non-sectarian. Geographic restrictions. These grants must have a direct relevance to the Macon-Bibb County community. And the maximum grant amount that you can apply for, again, will range between $100 and $1,000. And then our funding cycle, under the Community to Action Grant Program, we will only consider proposals from participants on the table from October 17th. The deadline will be this Friday, November 9th at noon. And then you will hear back from us probably or most likely around the end of November with funding decisions. Reporting requirements. We will require you to submit a final report, a detailed final report, discussing with us and telling us what you all did with the funds that you were awarded with. And those will be due 2 months after the depletion of the grant funds or prior to April 30th, 2019, whichever one comes first. So if you deplete your funds before April 30th, 2019, then 2 months after you finish spending your last dollar of the grant funds, then you must come back and submit a final report, which can be found on our website at www.cfcga.org. All right, and then going into the web portal, if you need any technical assistance, please do not hesitate to contact anyone in our office at 478-750-9338, or you can email any of us directly at our appropriate email addresses. So now we'll go into a few tips for grant writing, and these tips are tailored to this particular grant program, which is the Conversation to Action program. Let's look at project overview. When you're looking at the start date of your project, keep in mind that the deadline is November 9th, and so funds will not be given out until probably early to mid-December. So keep in mind that funding won't be available to early to mid-December. So if you're going to start your project, you want to start a little bit after mid-December. If you're applying as a business, government entity, or nonprofit organization, you must, on the application, complete the contact information as well as the organizational information. If you look at the application on the web portal, you will see that there will be a personal contact for the organization. You have to fill that out, but then there will also be general organization information that you also have to fill out as well. If you're applying as an individual, the general organization information will disappear once you select that you are applying as an individual, so you don't have to fill that part out. Project narratives. Be sure that your ideas came from discussion from your tables on October 17th. This was a community effort, and we are looking for partnership and collaboration amongst the ideas. However, this is not a requirement. The location of the table that you attended does not have to be the same area of your project. So if you attended a table that happened here downtown, your project or your idea does not have to be centered around doing something downtown. It can be anywhere within the Macon-Bibb County outlines. Please keep in mind that projects you are responsible for the lifetime maintenance of your project after the funding has been depleted. So these grants are mini grants, meaning we're here to help you kickstart your idea, get your idea off the ground, not to maintain and sustain it once the funds have been depleted. That will be your responsibility. All right, and then I guess now we're moving to our live Q&A. I'm going to defer to Nancy. Nancy. Here she comes. Part of the interruption. We're ready for the Q&A.
Okay.
We'll just go ahead and start reading some questions. So the first question that we have is, can we apply, or can you apply, or can I apply as an individual? And the answer is yes, you can. As stated earlier, in the application, there will be, on the very first page of it, there will be a part to where you designate what you're applying as. So if you're applying as a business, organization, or a government entity, there will be additional information that you must fill out. If you're applying as an individual, that additional information will disappear from the application and you won't be required to answer that. The second question we have is, when will I receive the money? And that's a very good question. The money will hopefully be dispersed by, again, mid-December or late December, but the decisions will be made sometime at the end of November. So as soon as the November deadline, excuse me, let me pause. So as soon as the decisions are made in November, we will hop right on that, trying to get the money dispersed as well. Who will help me implement the project? That, again, comes back to you with your partnerships and collaborations. If you have any connections or relationships in the community of people or organizations who can help you implement your ideas, then by all means, work with those people to help do what you have to do. But ultimately, you receive the grant, or / your organization receives a grant, and you are responsible for implementing the project. And then, when is the new grant deadline? The new grant deadline, again, is this Friday, November 9th at 12 p.m. And we are accepting applications still to this day. If you go to our website at www.cfcga.org, you will see the application and you'll be able to apply. If you have any issues with the web portal, that means login information, need to register, just contact the office here at the CFCG and we will gladly fix those issues for you. Our number again is 478-750-9338. And anybody here can help get you situated within the web portal. So I guess we'll take questions now from the viewers.
We have a where do you apply question. Where do you apply?
Okay.
So I'm actually going to work with you to show them the web portal.
Okay, perfect. just entertain till they get that up. If you have any questions, please post them in the comment section under this video. We would gladly help answer it. Come on in, boy.
So welcome to this process in the back.
All right, got it up?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll stand to the side. Can you give the mouse click? It's behind you.
Yeah, so just
All right, here we go. It's a little bit delayed.
okay.
All right, so here's the process of one, logging into the web portal and to get to the application. So once you go to cfcga.org, if you will go for, you see for nonprofits, and then this is going to come up with a drop-down menu. Then you'll select grants. When you get to this point, you're going to scroll down until you see Conversation to Action Grant Guidelines, and you'll click there. And then when this page pops up, there'll be a nice big blue button that says Apply Now. So once you click that, it will take you to our web portal. And here you will have to have a login to get into the web portal to access the application. If you don't have a login yet, then you will use the bottom link to register. And let's go to the register real quick just to show them what the difference is for individuals and organizations. So you have to create a profile. You're going to enter your first name, last name, email address, and create a password. But when you get down to portal access, you got it?
And excuse us for moving the cameras, guys. I just want to make sure that you can see this.
Okay. When you get down to portal access, you'll see scholarship applicant. You don't want that. Grant applicant, you want to check that, and or organization admin. But the key thing is grant applicant. And what you'll see here is you'll be able to apply for grants and with this access, but you'll also be able to apply as an individual. And if you're And if you're applying as an individual, what you want to do is come down to this search bar down below and type in the word individual. And once you type that in, what will populate down here is Conversation to Action Grants, Individual Access. And you must select that in order to apply for a grant as an individual. It's a little different. I-N-D-I.
So phonics right here.
That's okay. This is all it works. All right. And double click that. You got it? All right. That's a question. You got a question? Then you'll copy information from the organization, hit that button, and it'll auto-populate everything that's in this box down below. And you'll just keep scrolling, and then hit the button that says register. Then once you register, it'll be a few minutes in between you being able to access the web portal and being able to apply for a grant, because we have to go through on our end and process you as a web portal user. And with that said, we'll entertain any questions that you all may have. I don't want to stand in front of the camera too long. Someone said, I'm just logging on. Is the grant available for any of the topics discussed at the On the Table events? And that is the answer to that question is yes. Anything that was discussed on October 17th at the On the Table event Any ideas can be funded through this grant program process. And do you have to have a nonprofit status to apply? Again, you do not. You can apply as an individual. And if you go back and review what we just went through as registering for our web portal access, you can apply and register as an individual as well.
And if you happen to miss how we showed you applying for an individual, at the end of this session, this video will be available on our page for you to review. And you can just scroll back to that time. I'll put on the comments the exact time that was so that you guys can easily reference that.
Okay.
We have a few more questions, Darius.
All right, send them to me there. I'm going to have my chip there.
No worries.
Can you see me? See?
Is there a preference given to particular programs with hopeful outcomes? And this is Andrea Cook's question. She says, is there a preference given to particular programs' hopeful outcomes?
With hopeful outcomes.
And Andrea, you might need to clarify that question for us a little bit more. There is a preference given to certain programs, and Darius can expand on that.
Yeah, so going back to our grant guidelines, funding priority will be given to any projects that would demonstrate, again, one of the following. And we talked about these a little earlier, but I'll certainly go back over them again. So anything that features a new idea that was generated from your conversations on October 17th during your table discussion, or anything that focuses on action or collaboration to provide innovative and more efficient approaches to solving community issues, anything that addresses needs not currently being met by an existing organization. And this may go back to Andrea. She said anything that's ongoing. So we're looking for issues that came from discussion at the table. So these issues may have been things that were ongoing, but what we're looking for is something new to address. Any issues such as, we talked about the homeless population, looking for more accessible restrooms downtown, and things of that nature. So we're looking for things that aren't right now being addressed in our community.
That does go directly into Ms. Martin's question, who did ask, are you allowed to apply for a grant for an ongoing project? Are you allowed to apply for a grant for an ongoing project?
Well, let's table that question and come back to it. I think we just answered it.
Yeah, I think we did. I was just saying it's leading
You just
into
reported?
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just reported.
All right, wonderful.
Nikki Farley asked, where do we apply and what are the qualifications? I think we just went over that by showing you the web portal.
I'll say it again, but again, just go to our website at www.cfcga.org, and you just follow the prompts that we went through. And this live session will be posted once we're done recording, and you'll be able to go back and review it. But also there will be some instructions on the funding grant guidelines that will show you the way to get to the web portal, access the web portal, and apply for the grant.
Nikki Farley asks, is there an amount limit?
The limit to the grant is $1,000. So your project or your grant application can be anywhere from $100 to $1,000. And now I'll just continue to sit here until y'all have some more questions, unless we have anything else. Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to check and see if we have any more questions.
All right. Thank you all so much for your questions, though. These are great questions and questions that do deserve answers, and we hope that we have been able to answer them in a way that is pleasing to you, so that you all can go ahead and proceed with submitting your applications and hopefully being awarded grant money to get your ideas off the ground. And again, I just want to repeat the overview of the grant program. The deadline is, again, this Friday at November 9th at 12 p.m., 12 noon. That's the day and the time that we will cut off the application, and no other applications will be able to be received. Again, if you have any questions or any concerns or any problems or issues, getting into the web portal, about the application, you want to discuss your idea, please do not hesitate to contact us at the Community Foundation office at 478-750-9338. I'm going to keep sitting here looking. Can the project serve Central Georgia in general, or does it have to be focused in the city of Macon? Again, that says, can the project serve Central Georgia in general, or does it have to be focused in the city of Macon? This has to be focused here in the Macon-Bibb County area. If you look at our outline for the grant guidelines, it tells that in details as well. But on the table of Macon discussion that was held on October 17th were to discuss issues that were important to you all, being citizens or people who work here in the city of Macon-Bibb County, and to discuss those issues and develop solutions to those issues that we can hopefully solve right here, being the participants on the table on that day. Keep the questions coming. We enjoy answering, enjoy spending time. This is just a conversation between you and I so that we can get your questions answered and move forward with this process. All right, I see. Let's see. You're so very welcome, Gigi. Nikki, you're welcome as well. Do any of y'all have any other questions? You Create Macon, you're so very welcome. We enjoy communicating with those in the community here at the Community Foundation, because we certainly want to be an advocate for those who are doing the heavy lifting out there. So thank you so much for your comment. Geneva West, you have any questions? Yolanda, I hope I was able to answer your question to satisfaction.
I don't see any questions coming in from Twitter or from the group, so let's just give it about 5 more minutes.
Okay.
If anyone has any last minute questions, even if it's a repeat question, guys, just go ahead and ask. I'd rather for you to get your answers now than to miss the deadline because there was something that we missed. So we'll give you 5 minutes to think of anything or invite anybody who may have missed this, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up.
All right, that's beautiful. Thank you. That was Nancy Cleveland, our communications associate here at the Community Foundation, is doing such a wonderful job in her role. Thank you. Uh-oh, somebody sent us a mad face. Is there a reason for it? Is there a question that I can answer for you? Give it about 5 more minutes, then we'll wrap this up. Can you submit multiple proposals? This was the question that was just posed. And yes, you can submit multiple proposals. There is not a restriction on the number of applications you can submit, but please keep in mind that we expect to get a large number of application submissions, and that each one will be thoroughly gone through and gone over so that we can see what the needs are based on our funding priorities and the purpose of our nonprofit grant program for community to action grants.
Next question. Can the project hold on, excuse me.
While that question comes in, we hope that everyone who participated on the table on October 17th thoroughly enjoyed the conversations that were had at those tables, and that something new and something that was beneficial was discussed, and that you all were able to come up with ideas and solutions to the issues that you all are facing out here in the Macon-Bibb County community. Here's our next question.
If the funds allotted for the grants are not all used, will grant recipients be allowed to request additional funding?
Repeat that question one more time.
If the funds allotted for the grants are not all used, will grant recipients be allowed to request additional funding?
Additional funding going towards another project?
I'm assuming.
Okay, so any funds not used, we will ask that you return those funds back to us so that you may be able to apply for a grant in the future. That's just for us to keep account of the but we would like keep account of what we've given out. But our main goal is to give all this money to fund each and every award that we possibly can, to get rid of the money that we have allotted for Conversation to Action grants.
Other than individual application, will for-profit businesses be allowed to apply?
Yes, you will. If you go back to our Community to Action grant guidelines and visit our website, you will see that businesses, government entities, and nonprofit organizations each can apply for grants, as well as individuals. I see Anda Richards.
Will there only be one person or organization selected?
One person or organization?
Yeah.
No. There will be numerous awards given out to individuals, organizations, businesses. It all depends on what the project that you come up with, how it fits in with our funding priorities stated in our grant guidelines.
Is there a specific time frame the project is expected to be completed once funds are dispersed? Is there a specific time frame the project is expected to be completed once funds are dispersed?
We usually give you a year to complete the project, but since these are mini grants, we're asking for everything to hopefully be completed by April 2019. And again, if you spend all of your money that you are awarded prior to April 2019, then 2 months after you have spent the last dollar of your grant money, we ask that you go ahead and submit your final report so that we may continue to move forward with marketing what it was that you did and how you were able to do it. So again, everything must be submitted no later than April 30th, 2019 for final reports.
Should financials be attached for individuals or organizations?
Yes, in the application there's a section on there for attachments and statements. We ask that you upload all financial information for your organizations that we ask for. And I believe it's the Form 990. So if you submit your Form 990 in there, we would definitely want that to be in there. If you're applying as an individual, again, you will not have to submit a Form 990, but there will be additional documents that you will have to submit, and we will sit down with you prior to being your check being awarded to you to go over everything that you must submit.
Ms. Martin wanted to clarify her question.
Wonderful.
She was referring to the funds that the Community Foundation has available, meaning if there are fewer applicants than expected, will grant recipients be allowed to request additional funding from the Community Foundation?
That's a great question. We would definitely have to take that back to our board and get approval for that. But as of now, can we take that question now? Take it down and so that we can go back and discuss it. Mm-hmm. And we'll definitely, there was Ms. Martin. Ms. Mm-hmm. Martin, we'll get you a definite answer once we have concluded with this webinar.
What are the funding priorities, Anna Richards? Shout out to Anna with the Knight Foundation.
Hey Anna, the funding priorities are found in our guidelines on our website, but I will certainly go through them once again. Priority will be given to any projects that demonstrate a majority of the following. Anything that features a new idea generated through an on-the-table of making conversation. Anything that focuses on action and collaboration to provide innovative and more efficient approaches to solving community issues. Anything that addresses needs not currently being met by an existing organization. Anything that reaches a broad segment of the community. And that's it. Those are our funding priorities for the Conversation to Action grants. Thank you so much for your question, Anna. Veronica Waller, will there be more on the table events scheduled sooner than a year from now? If not, are there other events you can recommend similar to On the Table? I'm gonna bring Nancy in on that one. She's one of our point contacts for On the Table. Nancy, come on in.
You just wanted me to get on camera, but hi guys, I'm Nancy. I just want to answer specifically that question. We will not have our own organized On the Table event until next year with a later date to be determined. However, from the first event, a lot of organizations and people have decided to turn On the Table into a verb. So if there's an event or a discussion or an idea or a project that you want to discuss, they want to On the Table that and further that discussion with their own personally organized events. And that's something that I would offer to you. You are welcome to use the framework of this event to discuss any issues, and then keep an eye on the next large On the Table event that will be organized by us.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Ms. Waller, I hope that answered your question. Nancy Dillinger, Transportation Services, says hello.
Hi, guys.
All right. The time is now 1:42. I said we give it to 1:45. Any other questions?
Will the On the Table series be taken into schools? If not, would it be appropriate to submit a grant to do so? It was actually taken into the schools. Hi guys, I'm gonna come back. We did actually have a large participation at the schools with the Bibb County School District. However, because they were with the youth, we did have those tables be private and not open to the public, just for the safety of the children and things of that nature. If there is any idea that you have, it would definitely be appropriate to go ahead and submit a grant that would include the schools or support the schools. It doesn't necessarily have to be from a discussion you had at the school to be about the school, if that makes sense.
Wonderful.
When is the next big On the Table discussion? We have not picked a date. It is coming up in 2019, but we haven't finalized our date. But keep an eye out. We will announce that date shortly. What you do want to keep an eye out for in the meantime is the upcoming deadline that's this Friday for your Conversation to Action grants. Tell a friend, tell a stranger, tell anyone who participated in On the Table to apply for these grants so that we can help get your ideas off the ground. After the deadline date, we will be going out and awarding these grants as soon as possible. And so you'll see the announcement of the grant winners and also the rollout of the data from the surveys that you guys took coming up in January. So almost every month from On the Table, you're going to see some more events and some updates regarding On the Table for you to keep an eye out on, and we will update you on that date in 2019 ASAP.
Perfect. All right, we do just want to again take the time out to say thank you to all who participated On the Table on October 17th of this year. It was a wonderful turnout. We had numerous tables, numerous invited guests, and numerous participants, and we're so glad to have you all participate. And now we're able to move forward and present the Conversation to Action grants that will allow you to get those ideas that were developed during your conversation at those tables so that we can kickstart those ideas and help move our community forward.
And we have more questions. I love it. Keep the questions rolling in, guys. Are there age restrictions to apply for the youth?
What was the restrictions for youth participation?
Well, we separated them, but there wasn't a restriction about participating.
Okay, there's no restriction about participating for age restrictions on the youth.
Yeah.
There were none.
But obviously, a youth would probably need help applying and filling out the application on the web portal. But they could be a young grant winner.
We love it. Karen Middleton, thank you so much. I'm glad we were helpful to you. I hope we answer any questions that you may have. Again, want to say thank you to all the participants in On the Table. This was a wonderful initiative for our community, and I think that it brought many of us together to combat issues that are going on in our community. And with that said, I think we can move to conclude our webinar on Conversation to Action grants. Again, we hope that we answer any questions that you may have, but if you run into any issues, we're always available for to talk briefly with you. Our phone number again is 478-750-9338. Again, it's 478-750-9338. Thank you so much, and y'all have a wonderful day.